What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of OMG K-Drama. In this episode, we're going to talk about the first two episodes in a brand new SBS drama called Pinocchio. And we watched the first episodes. I was absolutely amazed by these two episodes. They were absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to talk about them. So let's get straight into it. So the first two episodes of Pinocchio happened this week, obviously, which is what we're talking about. It is a Thursday, Friday drama on SBS, I believe. So since this is the debut week, we're going to talk about we're going to introduce the characters and the cast behind them. And while we do that, I'm going to basically fill in all of the things that happened in the first episodes, because the first episodes are introducing the characters and setting up the plot. The character introductions are going to take away most of what I have to talk about. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with Choi who is played by Lee Jong-suk, whose latest drama or most recent drama before this one was Dr. Stranger. So if you've watched that, you're familiar with him. He's really nice. He's a really good actor, I believe. I like him. That's all there is really to it. But Dalpo is in the show, he becomes the son of an old man whose son had died previously, and he kind of adopted him. And the whole situation is he pretends to be the old man's son, and as a result of that, I guess it helps him with his mind. He loses his dementia and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. And this whole thing sets up an interesting situation, which I'm going to talk about when I introduce my next character. But we're going to talk about Dalpo and the actual character person that he is in reality. So he is not actually Dalpo, though. Obviously, we know that. I mean, we don't know that, but we do once we watch the first couple of episodes, or over the course of the episodes we watch, we know this. But he ends up on a quiz show, competing against the #1 ranked kid at his school. He's the last ranked. He pretends to be stupid because the person that he is pretending to be actually was pretty stupid. So he's playing the character of the son, and he's doing it with all of his effort. So he's on the game show, and basically the game show is sort of just the venue for him to have a flashback and introduce who he really is, through one of the most intense and entertaining flashback scenes I have ever seen. Also, one of the longest flashback scenes I have ever watched in a K-drama ever. So the flashback scene basically reveals that he is actually the son of a former firefighter, the fire chief, who led his team into a burning building, a factory, I guess, and an explosion happened. Everybody died. He was basically blamed for it. And he was assumed that he had gone into hiding because someone who has what's called Pinocchio syndrome or something like that, who whenever they tell a lie, they start to hiccup. And so that you can tell them but he says, this guy with the Pinocchio syndrome says, I've seen the fire captain, and I know where he's not dead like everyone thinks he is. And then that basically opens up a huge thing with the news, where news reporters and all that stuff are reporting everything, because news is supposed to be reporting facts and all that stuff. But what network is she from? MSC, Son Chang-ok, who is the news anchor that is reporting on the story for the news network MSC. She basically makes stuff up. She makes, whips up this huge storm of hate against this guy, and makes everyone think that him and his family are the worst people on the planet. And it's a bit unfair, really, obviously. And ultimately, because of that, it kind of drives Dalpo, his mom, who is not his mom, to commit suicide and to drag him along with her. It was actually, oh my god, the scene was actually really, really sad. Well, unexpected, because obviously, they're hanging out they're standing on the cliff by the ocean, and she's like, let's go see Dad. And I didn't really click in my mind that she meant that I'm gonna kill myself and you're gonna come with me, until the next scene when it showed, not, they didn't leave their shoes, but there was one shoe left on the cliff. And, it's kind of a thing, I guess, in Korea where you commit suicide, you leave your shoes behind, or you take off your shoes before you commit suicide, before you kill yourself. So that, kind of is an indication that they committed suicide. And then his older brother shows up and to the scene and reads this, the suicide note, which I'm assuming, based off of his reaction and what we kind of know, I guess, is that the suicide note basically said that all of the unfair, criticism and hate against us and our family and all that stuff has kind of driven me to this, and this is why I've killed myself. And then his brother loses his mind and, basically goes a bit crazy, breaks some cameras and all that stuff. It's all good. So, yeah, I mean, it's actually quite a sad story. He didn't die, though, somehow. We don't know how he didn't die, but he managed to live through the whole thing. He hates it. He hates his mom a little bit for it, or he doesn't hate. Maybe he feels a little sorry towards her about it. But the whole incident has kind of driven a huge resentment for news networks and broadcasting stations, because basically they don't care about who they're reporting on. They just make stuff up to make people watch without any regard to who the victims are that they are reporting on. So that is Dalpo, his introduction to basically the show. The second character, the only main character that we have come in contact with so far, we got Choi In-ha, who is played by Park Shin-hye, whose most recent drama was The Heirs, which is also, it was a really hyped up drama. So I know a lot of people watch that. So she will be well known in this drama if you've seen that one as well. So she, because of the assumed relationship that Dalpo has taken as his dad's son, the grandfather's son, makes her Dalpo's niece, which is weird because she is older than him. I think I'm not a little older than him. Yeah, and she moves in to the house with her dad, who is divorced from her mom. His dad won't let her talk to her mom in any way, and just you cannot have any contact, you cannot see any pictures of her, you cannot see her at all, you will never know who she is, sort of deal. But she's like, I know that my mom she's on TV, she does this, so please, Dalpo, fix the TV, or I wish that we could, see her on TV so I could see my mom, and that would be really awesome. And so Dalpo fixed the TV at the house, and they pull up the news, they're watching the news, and reporting on News Network is, can you guess who it is? Of course, it is MSC anchor Cha Son-ok, or Son Cha-ok, who is naturally In-ha's mother. And that is basically the start of, I guess you could say, a bit of a conflict between In-ha and Dalpo, because obviously Dalpo hates this woman because she is responsible more or less for his mother's death or suicide, and he just hates her. Also, the whole thing kind of fuels his hates for news networks and all that stuff, and they don't really like each other. Or he kind of doesn't really like her a whole lot, or he pretends to, at least, because ultimately he likes her, or Dalpo likes In-ha likes Dalpo. They both won't admit it, really, but we know, because we just do. It's kind of made pretty obvious through the first 2 episodes of the show. And there's actually really a really, when Dalpo is done with the quiz show and he returns back to the village that he lives in, and In-ha is there to meet him at the bus terminal and all that stuff. There's a really, really, really cute, it's not scene, right, where it's a half confession. Dalpo, because while he was on the show, he was like, and he was going to say something to In-ha, and then he got cut off because they ran out of time for the moment that he said that he was going to say something. And so In-ha asks him, what was it that you were going to say? And then he said, and his reply was that I was going to say, don't get off my bike, because he takes her to school every morning, or he rides her to school every morning, and then she gets off at some point, so that they're not together. And and he says, don't get off my bike. And it's not really that's not like a confession that he likes her, but it's kind of a confession that he likes her. It's a half confession. And she was like, that she instantly, in her mind, she went straight to, that was a confession. So she seemed to be quite into it. She liked it a lot. So they like each other, but they will not admit it. Fun stuff right there. Also, through Inha or Dalpo being on the quiz show, he's basically proven to everybody that he is not the loser that they all say he is, all zeros. In fact, to get onto the quiz show, not really to get onto the quiz show, but to initially get onto the show, they were supposed to take a test of common knowledge. He got 100s on it, and then people spread rumors that said that he cheated and all that stuff. And, you know, then basically it was put on him to prove that he did not cheat. And he proved that he didn't cheat by going on the show and answering all the questions correctly, basically showing everyone that he is not as dumb as they think he is. And because of that, Inha is watching this in their classroom, obviously with everybody else. And she realizes this is how he proved everybody wrong. This is how he got the truth out. Simply, he just broadcast it on the TV in plain terms for everyone to notice. And then so, because she realizes this is what I want to do as my career, right? I finally have got what my career choice is, because they'd gotten their like career selection sort of stuff in that they were supposed to work on, you like their career suggestions, and you write down what you want to do and all of that. They'd gotten that to those papers to do. And then so she writes down in pen, because now she can't change it apparently, which is, I don't even know, but she writes down in pen, I believe that she said that she wants to be a news reporter, which is going to be interesting because the sort of news reporter that I think that she wants to be is the complete opposite of the sort of reporter that her mom is. So that might cause a bit of conflict in some way that we don't really know. We can't anticipate, but I do anticipate that there will be something like that coming out. And of course, her being a news reporter is going to cause a lot of, you know, problems, or could cause a lot of problems with Dalpo, because he does not like news reporters. He does not like broadcasting agencies. He doesn't like any of that because of how, you know, dirty and scummy and terrible that he thinks that they are. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. So I don't know what's coming up. Who can say for sure, but I can tell you it's going to be awesome. The first 2 episodes of this show were fantastic. They set the tone brilliantly. It was the fastest 2 hours of my life, it seemed. So I'm really happy. This is going to be a great drama. I cannot wait to get back next week for the next 2 episodes. So that is it. Did you watch? So, I mean, that's all I have for this episode. We're going to leave with a couple of questions. First off, did you watch this show? What did you think of it? Leave your responses down in the comments below. I want to hear. And then when you're done doing that, please check out the rest of the videos on my channel. If you like what you see, then subscribe so that you get updated when more goes live. Also, check me out on Twitter. Click on the link down in the description below. That'll take you straight to my profile. I would really appreciate it if you gave me a follow on there as well. So, like I said, that is it for this episode of OMG K-Drama, and I will see you for the next episode of OMG K-Drama covering Pinocchio and every other video in between. As always, I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.